Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome to Good Morning Uganda, your go-to morning show to kickstart your day with all the latest updates.
Let's dive deep into issues that matter most to you.
In a world of stories waiting to be told, the headlines are your guide. Navigate the currents of news and knowledge with our daily updates of newspapers. Stay informed, stay empowered.
From the roar of the crowd to the thunder of victory, witness the drama unfold with our sports updates. Whether on the field or in the stands, join us as we celebrate the spirit of champions.
Rise with Good Morning Uganda, weekdays from 6:30 a.m.
Well, with a total of 444 pupils registering for the examinations, we had 786,981 sitting for the examinations from the 10,463 centers, meaning we only had absentees of 1.3%. Now in the SEM, a higher proportion, which is 91.8% of the candidates who sat the primary leaving examinations in 2024 passed. This is according to the Uganda National Examinations Board. But then when you also look into matters dealing with performance according to proficiency level, indicates that less than 20% of the candidates exhibited higher ability in any of the subjects. Overall, at grade 8, above candidates performed better in social studies and integrated science and mathematics. And then there was also an overall drop in performance in English compared to 2023. However, the girls outperformed the boys in that particular subject. Now, that bit of the intro shows you where we're heading into our newsreel this morning. I have Olive Monica Najuma with me, and joining us this very morning via phone call, we do have the head teacher, Kampala City Grammar, Mr. Senablia Francis, who does join us via a phone call, as we're going to be having a conversation on the 2024 PLE results and then breaking down the general performance of the candidates countrywide. What a conversation we're going to be having. But on top of it, you, our dear viewer, can be part of this conversation and share with us, of course, what you think should be done to, let's say, increase on the number of distinctions in primary 7, or if, in your own thoughts, do you believe that it still carries water for someone to highly pass with D1s or pass with 4 aggregates? That is a conversation we are going to be having. So you can join us 0709602592 and be part of this conversation. The hashtag is UBCGMU. Well, a very good morning, Mr. Senablia Francis. You're live on Good Morning Uganda, UBC. How are you doing today?
I'm very fine. Good morning, Mr. Sonko, and good morning, our listeners.
Okay. And a Happy New Year, first of all, I should say.
Sorry?
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too.
Okay. And how is the situation like at Kampala City Grammar right now? Because
Wow, we are jubilating. We are full of excitement. Everybody was up in space, especially yesterday. I've not reached school yet, but we are full of excitement. Everybody is very happy. I think people went to bed after midnight.
okay. If you can first of all just give us a brief of the performance levels for your school before we head deeper into our conversation this morning.
Yeah, Kampala City Grammar, we start 32 candidates. And out of the 32 candidates, we got 16 first grades and 16 second grades. Of those, we had 11 boys, and the rest were girls. Okay. And the performance was really good.
Okay. On your side of things, who outperformed the other in your school? Boys, the girls?
In our school, the girls outperformed the boys instantly. Maybe because of the number, because if you had 11 boys and 21 girls, it means that the space from where the first grades were to be picked maybe was bigger for girls. I don't know. Maybe that is the reason why. But the girls performed better than the boys.
Okay.
At our school.
All right, and let's now let's turn this conversation into the preparations that you had, because I wonder, before we get into the PLE day, back in the time, we candidates used to be pampered a lot. We were like babies. We were like the kings in school. I wonder how times have changed. I don't know how you're doing it currently. If you can just take us back to, if you can just draw reminiscence to how you prepared your candidates ahead of the finals last year.
Maybe what we don't have to lose sight of is that our school is really a new school.
Okay.
We started 2 years ago, and this is our third year. And we received students from all over, because we recruited children in all classes when we were going to start the school in 2023. But the best thing that we are doing, and the grounded approach to teaching, was teaching for understanding, making sure that the children really appreciate and understand what they are being taught. Application of knowledge, being able to read and comprehend was something we really emphasized. Repetition of knowledge, and ensuring that you spiral teach. You teach what you're supposed to teach at that level, then you go back to the knowledge you're supposed to have covered in the previous classes. That was the foundation of making sure that the children could be able to recall the knowledge that were given at the different levels. And I think it helped us a great deal to get the grades that we are able to get.
And, besides that, the preparations, when the exams came out, as a head teacher, I don't know the kind of mood head teachers are always in, because if I am to remember the times of my school days when I was just a pupil, then upgraded to a student, whenever exams were coming in, there were some tensions that were arising within me. And I was only hoping for the best, but however, I was scared about what is coming up. From your side of the head teacher, how do you handle this kind of, moods and, let's say, tensions?
Well, I would say that I'm not very different from other human beings. When these exams are about to come, it's like actually you who start these exams. You feel you are tensed up, the anxiety is very, very high, your expectations are so high, you start looking through the list of students you had and reflecting and trying to project what will be coming out. You sit with your people, so the tension is really very high. So we were not different from other people. We also had the high tension, and we were full of anxiety. Everybody was glued on TV, and some were on YouTube, so that we could hear the results. I think it is common. It's common for everybody. If you really love your candidates that you sat, you really are very anxious to see what is coming out of what you plowed into them.
And Mr. Senablia, I wonder though, according to the Uganda National Examinations Board, there was a drop in the number of candidates who obtained Division 1. But looking into your breakdown of how your school performed, it was a 50-50, 12 first grades, 12 second grades. Yes. I don't know how your school performed in the other year, but if you are to help us understand, what do you think led to the drop of candidates having Division 1s countrywide?
I think it's the method of assessing of students, of learners. I think that's the method has really changed greatly. When you look at the papers, if you look at the papers that UNEB has been setting over the years, there is a very big change in the style of setting. There is more of application of knowledge and comprehension. And if you don't emphasize this to the candidates, they may not be able to score. So last year we had 21 students, and we had 5 in Division 1, and the rest were in Division 2. But you find that when you get these papers that UNED sets, you really have to study them, and you see the style they are using to assess the learners. And you don't have to be rigid to what you assess the children like in the previous years only. You need to keep abreast with how UNED is changing the style. So we were able to analyze the papers, and then you see that there are more of application questions now and comprehension. So you teach the child to understand the knowledge, how to apply it, and be able to read. Reading is very, very critical. If a child cannot read today and comprehend, it becomes very difficult for that child to get out the answer from the statement that is given in the question. So reading and comprehension is very, 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 very critical, and application of knowledge to daily life. I think that is the cause of the drop in the performance generally nationally, because if you are teaching children to recall knowledge only, you be offside.
All right. Mr. Senaulia, I understand that this year's examinations required a high level of thinking skills. And as a past student myself, I understand that the way of teaching was more of we had to grasp what was taught to us, cram it, and then put the same on paper. So the question here is, have teachers nationally been given refresher courses when it comes to the way they impart this knowledge? And what has set your teachers aside from others? Because if you're getting all these first grades, there is something you're doing differently.
Yes, thank you, Madam Najima. Yeah, definitely. If you teach, as I said, if you teach children just to recall knowledge and cram, 2 times 2 is 4. And you don't apply them that if I have 2 mangoes and somebody gives me 2 other mangoes, or I have 2 mangoes in one basket and then I get another basket and it has 2 mangoes, what mangoes do you have at the end of the day? You will not be able to help the children to really understand the concept. So nationally, the teachers must be given, we have what we call CPDs, Continuous Professional Development Courses. These must be done across the country, wherever the schools are, wherever the teachers are, so that the teachers can be able to appreciate the style of examining the learners that they teach. And this should be also reflected in their way of assessing children in the daily exercises that they give them. You find that if a teacher in, I don't want to mention the places, but very distant from the capital, you may find that if they don't have time to look at the way, and you see, UNEB has been very good because they give us the analysis of how the performance was done, and they also print out the analysis of the questions and tell you why the children failed a particular number. If you can use this, and the teachers are given these continuous professional development courses so that they can be able to update their knowledge and also be able to change their style of teaching, not being very practical, not only to teach children to cram facts. We would be able maybe to change the performance of the children on the general outlook in the whole country.
Okay. Now, there is also an important factor to note here. Girls performed better than boys in English, but then boys performed better in science, mathematics, and even social studies. What do you think brings about this difference in performance of these different subjects?
My reasoning may not be very scientific, but generally, when you are in class, you tend to see some children having a phobia of the subject mathematics. But you find that there are girls, like in my school, the best girl in mathematics, the best candidate in mathematics is a girl. So generally, there is a fear of the subject called mathematics.
Do girls fear mathematics more than boys? Because do girls fear mathematics more than boys, or science subjects?
There is a tendency of girls fearing the subject. And this one sometimes emanates from how the teachers and the parents look at the subject. There is a tendency of some parents saying, mathematics is very hard. If a child produces some result, they say, but even me, I used to find it very hard. No, it's you try. But we need to encourage children and tell them that this subject, I always tell my students that this is the easiest subject. So the confidence the parents and teachers give the learners about the subject matters quite a lot. It gives the children confidence so that they get to know that mathematics is not very different from English and SST. After all, you require the same kind of brains to do mathematics just as to recall the facts about Semeika Kunguru in SST. Yes.
Okay. Now, the other thing is that let's look at the numbers. In private schools, even when a school has many numbers of pupils, you'll find that they have enough space for them in terms of streams. Now, for the case of your school, you said you had 32 candidates?
Yes. 32 candidates.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you think that the low numbers in private schools vis-a-vis the high numbers of pupils in government schools also leads to difference in performance?
Yeah, I think that is very true because the teacher-pupil ratio is very, very important. If the teacher-pupil ratio is very big, for instance, if you have one teacher because we had 4 teachers in primary 7 in my school, so if 32 to 4 teachers, that is 1 teacher to every 8 learners. And this ratio is not very easy to be achieved in government schools because we have very many students. And the envelope that pays teachers is limited. So you find that there is limitation of recruitment of teachers in government schools. And that's why you find that the learners are very many, the teachers are very few. So the contact of a teacher to a pupil becomes very challenging over time because by the time the teacher reaches everybody in a class about a concept is emphasizing, you may find that the week has elapsed. So the teacher-pupil ratio is very, very important. It should be reasonable so that every child can be reached by the teacher in every lesson that the teacher teaches, so that he sees how the child is progressing and he sees those ones who have challenges and they are helped out so that they can be able to catch up. Because we are not the same. Those learners are not the same. They are the stock takers, they're the fast learners. So you have to create time for everybody so that they can be able to be at the same level. But it's not easy if you have a very big class. I tell you, I've been teaching even up to now, but you need to have a reasonable number in class to reach every learner so that they can be assisted out to grasp what you're teaching.
Okay, and Mr. Zenabulia, there is a report from the Uganda National Examinations Board that has revealed that there is a total of 68 suspects who have been arrested over their involvement in examination malpractice. And in most cases, private schools like yours are always under the spotlight when it comes to examination days, where UNEB sends in supervisors who always have to, follow up and see that everything moves on smoothly. As a school, how do you ensure safe and, how do you ensure safe examinations day delivery?
So I missed that.
I was saying 68 suspects have been so far arrested over their involvement in examination malpractice.
Yes, please.
And in most cases, private schools, like yourself, because you're running a private school, are always under the spotlight from the Uganda National Examinations Board, because there's high belief that most of the malpractice happens in private schools.
Yes,
and they normally send in supervisors, invigilators, and of course scouts to ensure that there's a safe exercise which does not include cheating or anything. So during the 2 days of writing the exams, how do you ensure that there is a safe handling of the exercise from your school and ensuring that the parents do not hear any story whatsoever of malpractice? Because the cases do come in from the private sector.
I don't know what I should call it, but I think it's about anxiety. You see, peer examinations should be taken like any other examination that are coming on before the children. But when you, the teacher yourself, gets scared and the owner of the school gets scared of the exams which are coming, that's why you find people running around like headless chicken. You prepare your candidates very, very well, and you make sure that whatever comes, they have the knowledge. They will be able to respond. You should have that confidence. Build the confidence in the teachers, build the confidence in the learners, let the parents have the confidence, let the owners of the schools have the confidence in what they have been doing across the year, so that by the time the examinations come to be written by the candidates, everybody is confident and has the knowledge and the expectations that the papers are going to be hard will not be there to make them get scared of what is coming. So the scouts will come and they will find a normal situation, and the learners will be able to respond to the questions normally because they are given the content they are supposed to have. They have the confidence that they are going to respond correctly, and then the scouts and the supervisors will find that examinations are going to run very normally. But if you create that tension by getting very scared, you want the results, then you are bound to panic around, and you put everybody on tension. And that's why maybe some schools are tempted by Satan to do what is not acceptable. So if you can teach and build the confidence in learners, complete the syllabus, there wouldn't be any need for somebody to panic around to cheat examinations for learners.
All right, and meanwhile, when the finals get done and the results are out, the pressure tends to get onto the new candidates. For example, the semi-candidates of P6 of 2024 now get to feel the pressure come 2025 to ensure that they beat up the competition or outperform the candidates of 2024. How do you ensure that you're instilling, a competitive spirit in the students or pupils?
I saw this yesterday when the results came out, when we had some P6, the former P6, the current P7 who came around yesterday to see the results. You could really see them being envious of the candidates and also having some kind of a climate of fear around them that, shall we make it? And I talked to some of the boys yesterday that, now it is your turn. You really need to make sure that you perform better than this. It is natural. They look at them like they have made their accomplishment, they are done. Now it is our time. So you just need to give them a reassurance that they can also be able to make it. And the results of P7 are not made in P7 alone. You need to prepare these candidates right from primary 5. I would say right from primary 1. Because there are questions which come and they require knowledge that they were given in P2, in P1, like 2 plus 7 or subtraction or something like that. So you need to give them the confidence that they can also get it. But naturally, they become envious, they become scared that, shall we make it? I could actually see it yesterday from the few kids who are around it, who came to see the results.
Wow, interesting. You would agree that it is rather surreal, and of course the pressure is natural, but then a little competition has never hurt anyone, right? Now, for me, my question now goes on to how parents have been cancelled. You see, every parent that takes their child through P7 hopes for a 4, at least majority of them. But then results come back, and maybe the child doesn't have a 4, they have a 5, they have a 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. That is still a first grade. But then there are also those that are in second grade that can still go to relatively good schools. So Have you, in your school, had these sessions with the parents, telling them that P7 is not the end of the road and that they should not actually make these children feel bad for not getting a certain grade that the parents were expecting?
I don't want to be misunderstood when I'm responding to your question. But I think this problem of 4 and 5 is creating a lot of pressure in schools. And maybe it's because the very good schools that we hear as secondary schools, they take those cream. I think if I was a policymaker, I've always told people around me that if I was a policymaker, I would make sure that each secondary school takes every class of students so that they study in the same class just like they do in our primary schools. We don't select them that this is a super, so we come to my school. We take everybody. If this tendency of taking the 4s and 5s to the first schools, the very good schools, can be checked, maybe we could reduce on the pressure that everybody gets. But one needs to know that a child who has got 10 and one who has got 10 and 4, they are in the same span. That's why when UNEB is grading, they are grading them as grade 1. They are all performed very well. And not everybody is supposed to get a 4. We are not all genius. When you look at the normal trend of distribution of grades, you can find that those who are very weak are very, very few. Those ones who are very super are very few. And normally in a normal class distribution, majority of the people are mediocre. They are in between there. So if the rate of, the style of recruitment of children in secondary schools could be checked a little bit so that they give room to second graders to join the super schools. I said I don't want to be misunderstood. It would maybe reduce on the pressure that is at P7 level.
Do you think schools, especially private schools, have led to this implosion of the need for 4s? Because let's face it, many of them front the 4s. When you look at today's New Vision on the front page, there are schools that have already pasted their children there with the 4 aggregates. This is an advert. So have some private schools contributed to this?
No, it's because of the pressure where they are going. If I don't produce 4, my children will not go to the school which I want. So I advertise my 4s that I've got so that I attract people to come to the school and that it's me who can make it. I can get the 4s. So we really need to check on the way we recruit children in senior 1. I think I'm not a policymaker, as I said, and I don't want to be misunderstood. But all that comes from where the children are going. Which schools are they going to? And that puts the pressure on the learners. You want to go to Kampala State Grammar, they are taking only 4s. So you find that everybody is put to pressure to get a 4, a 5 to go to Kampala State Grammar. But if Kampala State Grammar can take a 4, can take a 6, can take a 10, can take a 13, it's a normal distribution of their class. And they teach them so that they produce the children and give opportunity to all these children to be able to study from that school. Because naturally, when you are born, you are not born that these ones are going to be 4s, but you can make something in this world. You will find that not only the genius children who get 4 are the ones who get first-class degrees in Makerere University and other universities. Those ones who are getting 13 and 15 can also get first-class degrees, and they can even be very, very useful in society. So I think the tendency of emphasizing 4 and 5 is driving us crazy. Whenever we are teaching, we want to get everybody get a 4 and 5. That is the problem.
Okay.
It's the driving factor for every school to obtain 4 and 5.
Okay, Mr. Ssenabulya, as we are summing up with our conversation, I would want to pick 2 of your comments on these questions. One is On the issue to do with the celebrations, on screen here we can see a bit of the celebrations. You know, when exams come back, schools obviously celebrate differently, and many people have always come out to, you know, to give their take on celebrations after these exams. But then also, away from that, away from your comment on the celebrations, I would also like to know, this I think in your parting shots, what the parents can expect from the school ahead of 2025, following the fact that the exams are now out. What plans do you have to ensure that, one, the candidates you have this year outperform the ones that you had last year? And then, you know, what are the things you're cooking for the parents and the pupils as a school?
Not very different from what we did this year. We shall ask for the parents' cooperation. You know, it's teamwork that brings about these results. You cannot go it alone. We prepare very well as teachers what we are supposed to teach, the curriculum, the content that we are going to teach, the assessment that we are going to give them. So we are not going to do things differently. We only need to look at the questions critically that were done last year, so that we see what style has been introduced in the content that we teach, so that we can expose our children to this style of examination. So we shall call for the parents' teamwork, cooperation. We shall call upon the members of staff to cooperate and to remain focused. We shall talk and counsel our candidates to make sure that they remain focused. They know why they come to school. They're very well behaved. They put God first in everything that they do, so that they are able to be guided by the supernatural power from the Creator, so that they can be able to behave very well and also be able to respond to the programs that we have put forward for them, and making sure that we value time. We do everything as per plan. When it is time for play, you go to play. When it is time for relaxing, they are relaxing. When it is time for classwork, they're doing their classwork. When it is time for assessment, everybody is seriously looking at the scripts we have given them. So these are our plans. But one of the first things we are going to do, we have already started doing that, is critically looking at the assessment of last year, so that we pick out the new styles of setting the questions, so that we can adopt them when we are doing our daily teaching of children across, not only in P6 and P7, but across right from primary 4, which is our transitional class in primary.
Okay. Again, thank you very much for your time, and congratulations to Kampala City Grammar following those examinations that were released yesterday.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonko.
Wow. And,
have a blessed day.
Okay. And there you have it. That is Mr. Ssenabulya Francis, the head teacher, Kampala City Grammar. He has revealed to us that they had 32 candidates for PLE in 2024. Out of the 32, 16 of those passed in Division 1 or first grade, and then 16 of those passed in Division 2 or second grade. But of course, again, also at the same school, 21 of those that sat